what's up you guys, this is Rob from A Gay Guy Plays, and today on the Snapshot, debuffed what? That's right, the gaze is officially on fire. Now, for those of you guys who have absolutely no clue what I'm talking about, the gaze is not in reference to me. Hi, how you doing? But it's actually a chamber that is available for the kit gun customizations. Now, buried deep in the update 25 patch notes, they actually stated that the gaze's beam would now bounce to 2 additional targets. And I was like, what? We got a mini Atmos going on over here, one that we can customize the stats on. So I got really excited and revisited my old gaze. Now, in all honesty, I was not necessarily 100% happy with that build, so I did another build for it that turned out pretty much exactly the same. However, I will say I popped on over to the Wikipedia just for a quick glance to kind of check out stats and something, and they actually redid the page a little bit so you could better see exactly how a kit gun build would work on specific weapons. So I'm going to go ahead and leave a link down in the description box below so that you can take a look at how all of that plays out. And for those of you guys who are curious as to exactly how to build a kit gun, I'm going to go ahead and toss a link up in the top corner, you know, the little eye thing that pops up, as well as one in the description box below, to my guide on kit guns. So let's go ahead and take a look at how these babies turned out. Alrighty, so let's get a nice little visual as to how this all works. Now, I want to make a note about something, because I know that the simulacrum gets a lot of hate with certain YouTubers, some of which are my friends. But I feel like sometimes you need the simulacrum to get a nice visual of how things actually work. And this is one of those cases where, you know, I was showing this off on stream and it did not look all that great because of the fact that legitimately enemies were flying around left, right, and center. But here I think we get a nice little visual. So as you can see, now the cool thing that I like about this is the initial gaze beam is literally just a standard beam, but this bitch catches fire! Look at that shit! I'm super duper into it. It just kind of lets out this plume of flame. Oh my god, and it's just nice and freaking juicy. So as you can see, the visual effects on this have been upgraded, and it kind of like has this like emission that comes out of it. Also be aware that I am using Pack Seeker, so whenever I'm getting headshot kills, we get those little babies that fly out, which kind of are very reminiscent of Wisps. So that is basically how it works right now. Now, as you guys are aware, we do not get things like Ruinous Stretch. Is that what it's called? The one that extends the beam. That unfortunately doesn't work on these kind of weapons anymore. Once upon a time, it worked on the Atmos, and it was just like this glorious beam bouncing left, right, and center. However, you know, that's a veteran memory. For those of you guys who are fully aware of how things are stripped away from us, and then we have to remember them in the past. But let's get one more visual on this real quick, and then we'll go ahead and take a look at the setup that I have for this. So if you want to go ahead and build your own variation, you can. But as you can see, it's actually halfway decent at clearing crowds now. And you have to keep in mind that these are level 165 bombards. The only thing that I will say is just be very aware that the bounce range for this is 5 meters. Anything beyond that 5 meters, it's not bouncing to, and like I was saying earlier, it is not affected by Ruinous Extension. Alrighty, so real talk, I wanted to go ahead and fact check something that I was about to say in the video. So I figured why not go ahead and take you guys to the wiki with me, because of the fact that they introduced a little bit of an update that I quite like, so give them a little bit of love, right? As you can see, I went ahead and looked up the gaze chamber. It's pulled up right here, and as you can see in the stats, they've got a kit gun build table. Isn't this fantastic? Look at that. So you've actually got all of the different loaders there. You've got all of the grips that you can kind of like take all of the grips at once if you want, or you can go down grip by grip by grip if you guys want to kind of play around with different things in your build. So I thought that this was a very handy tool, and I wanted to go ahead and offer that up to you guys just in case you wanted to go ahead and take a look for yourself. Now, when it comes to the original, my OG gaze, the Endovius, uses a splat loader, and this really pushes it into critical territory. As you can see here, it's got a 39% crit chance and a 2.3 times critical multiplier. However, it sacrifices a whole lot of status chance because it's only at 17%. And y'all know I like a little bit more of a balanced build. As for the grip, I use the Ramble, and there's a couple reasons for that, but it does have a pretty quick reload time at only 1.7 and a magazine of 43, which I definitely love. But the big reason that I actually really like that specific grip is the fact that it gives us a whole lot of freaking range. So as you can see right here, and this is the fact that I was double checking on the wiki, we're sitting, I'm actually gonna push this out to like 30, 37, 38 meters. All right, so we're at 38 meters. And as you can see right here, we're right there skirting on the edge of 38, 37, and you can still hit enemies at pretty much full power from this range, as long as you can get a headshot. So if you're trying to take on enemies from afar, this is definitely going to be a good grip for that, because 38 meters is like no joke with no additional buffs. Now, of course, this doesn't affect the rate at which this bounces. As you can see right here, it's kind of like where it's at, you know what I mean? It's not going anywhere. But right here, it still has that 5-meter bounce, right? So it's quite fantastic for that, especially if you're trying to hit things from a little bit of a further ways away. Oh, 36 meters, we should be, wait, what? 38 meters. So it's right at that 37, 38 meter cusp, if you're wondering exactly how far you can be away. And usually you're not kind of having that type of combat where you're trying to snipe enemies with a beam. But if you are, then this is going to be the appropriate setup for you. Hi, this is Editing Rob, and I don't know what happened to the audio towards the end of this video. Legitimately, it's one straight through recording, and it started to get a little bit crazy. I didn't twist any knobs or nothing, so please bear with me. So prepare yourself for some kooky audio in 3, 2, 1, and boop. Moving along, we have our next generation of gaze. We have the Vidicadrus. As you can see, I went ahead and swapped out the loader on this one for the Deep Breath. This one actually has more of a balanced setup, so we have a 25% critical chance and a 2x critical multiplier, which is a little bit, I can't even say a little bit lower. I feel like it's a good chunk lower than the previous version. But the status has jumped up to 25%, so we have more consistent procs, which is definitely nice. In addition, I went ahead and swapped out the grip to the Love Tap, which does reduce the range a little bit more, but bumps up the base damage by a slight bit. And I really mean slight, so part of me is kind of like, did I make a mistake here? We'll see. So let's go ahead and take a look at how this baby performs real quick. So we do have more of a limited range, but I did want to point out it is a 25 meter range, or just shy of 25 meters. It's like right around there. So 24. Let's go out to 25. It's right on that edge. So as you can see right there, that's when it starts to take a hit. Now notice I was aiming at nothing for quite a while, so don't judge this weapon based off of that. But the thing about this one is, let's go ahead and get a fresh run at this. Oh, we've already stripped some armor. Wait a second. And that's what I'm talking about when it comes to the more consistent procs. Because of the fact that you are getting more consistent procs, you can use something like Corrosive to really weaken your enemies. So if you want to go in with like a condition overload build, to kind of use this to open things up with and kind of go ahead and weaken like a couple enemies, slide on in with a nice little condition overload like staff or others. Listen, we're promoting self-made weapons here, right? So if you want to go ahead and do that, that's definitely a great way to put this into effect. I mean, I can see this going really, really well with Corpus gas damage. It would be really, really nice to just proc out clouds and clouds. And as you can see right there, under a clip works very, very well, just as well as the previous version. If not slightly, but I feel like it's slightly better, just slightly. But I don't know if that's really enough to kind of give up the insane amount of range that we got with the other variation. But because of the fact that we have so much corrosive proccing off of these right now, it kind of makes all of the other enemies that you take on easier to kill by a decent chunk as compared to the other one. So if you want something that's more like widespread armor stripping or widespread shield bypassing with that gas damage for Corpus, this is definitely going to be the setup that I would point you towards. If you want to, and I think that this is a kind of great thing about kit guns, if you want to keep the range, you can still definitely do that. Keep the balance stats of 25 and 25 from the, what is it called? From the Deep Breath, and go ahead and swap over to the Ramble Grip, which is probably what I do. If I was going to do this one more time, I would probably keep the Deep Breath loader and go into the Ramble Grip, so you still get the range, but at the same time you get the kind of balanced stats. Now, one thing that I do want to point out is that there is one loader in between this one and the Splat. So as you can see, hold on, let's see, gaze. So the Endovius has the Splat loader and the Deep Breath. If you want to keep something similar, there is one that falls right in between these two, so you'll have a little bit more status than you do with the Splats, but you'll have a little more critical chance than you do with the Deep Breath. So if you want to kind of play in between those two, you can definitely go ahead and do that. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the mod setup. It's the exact same for both of these two. So as you can see, I am using a hybrid crit build. We've got Prime Pistol Gambit, Prime Target Cracker, then we've got 2 elemental status mods. We've also got our Augur Pact in there because that's just a thing. Now, also, to further customize all of your kit guns, you can also use all of these different arcanes or paxes. I need to finish this one up. I have enough to get to there. I'm just being lazy. But as you can see, what I was using was Pax Seeker, so you get all of those little wispy sprites that comes out whenever you kill something with a headshot. And then in addition to that, we have Pax Charge. So if you guys are really fond of, I believe, was it the Spectra that just came out that has the rechargeable battery delay? This one will give it to you as well. And then for those of you who like using abilities more, you can always use Pax Bolt. So on headshot kill, you get a 100% chance to get 30% on the ability efficiency and ability strength for 4 seconds, which is very, very nice. Now, to close things out, I'm just going to pose for you guys what I feel is a conspiracy, because I feel like this was also, in effect, a way to make Wisp look really, really good, because I felt like all of the weapons that they released with the Jovian Concord was just to make Wisp look really fucking good. Look at this craziness that is going on because of the fact that it triggers on hit and because of the fact that you're hitting multiple enemies at once with this new setup. I think it's all DE working to put together this conspiracy to make Wisp absolutely fucking fantastic. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I definitely feel that way. Let me know down in the comments below. In addition, let me know what setup you would have liked to use on your gays. Listen, this is Gay Pride Month, so I mean, why not embrace the gays this time around, right? So let me know about your feelings of all of that in the comments below. Balanced, more crits, maybe in between the crit status balance, I don't know, but that's a little bit of an update on how the gays are doing today. So as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch your body. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!